A lot of people make the mistake of doing loads of exercises per workout. We're told in the fitness space that doing 6 to 8 exercises per session is great for building that stimulus, for being athletic, and for just becoming a more fitter and healthier person, and of course for building muscle. But in this video, I want to talk about how you can get the same, or if not even better, results by doing just a handful of exercises. The basic compound movements, the basic calisthenic movements, bodyweight movements. You can do those and get a very good physique and get fitter and more athletic. And so if you're someone who's struggling with doing long training sessions, maybe you have a busy life with work and uni and whatnot. We all have a life outside of the gym. And so in this video, I want to talk about how you can have very shorter workouts with just a handful of exercises per workout and still get the same, if not even better results. If you're new here, my name is Seb, and on this channel, I talk about using basic, simple calisthenic movements to improve your fitness goals, or to get to your fitness goals, should I say, whether that be building muscle, losing fat, or just becoming more athletic and fit. So if you're on the same wavelength, feel free to subscribe to the channel and we can improve and grow together. So if you clicked on this video, you probably want to be in the gym less for whatever reason. Like I mentioned, everyone has a life outside of the gym, whether it be work, uni, other projects, or maybe you're just not a fan of the gym and you just prefer to just, get in there and get out as quick as possible. You just have to go to the gym because it's a part of a healthy lifestyle. But no matter what it is, the key is, can we be effective in those minutes that we spend in the gym? Can we get a very good workout within 20 to 45 minutes in the gym? And of course, the answer is yes. And so we're going to go through in this video how you can do that. Now, the main key is, or what we want to focus on is, first, what exercises can we be doing in our workouts? And of course, we don't want to be doing, 7 or 8 movements per workout. That will make our workouts run way too long. We want to try and keep it to a handful of movements, maybe around 3 or 4. And then the second part is how we're doing those exercises, or how we're doing those movements. And of course, we want to be doing those movements in the most effective way to get the most out of the time we're spending working out. And so first, what exercises should we be doing? And for me, of course, I'm going to be saying the basic bodyweight calisthenic movements. And to be fair, it doesn't have to be bodyweight. If you're strong enough at your pull-ups and dips, and of course you can add weight. But those movements, so your pull-ups, dips, rows, push-ups, squats, are going to be perfect for what we're trying to do here. And of course, if your goal is to build muscle and strength, then that's even better, because these movements definitely can build you muscle and strength. And of course, if you want to be more fitter, athletic person, then you can achieve that goal as well with these movements. And if you can't yet do pull-ups or dips, maybe you're just not strong enough yet, then of course you can do easier variations. So for example, if you can't do pull-ups, then you can try doing rows instead. Or if you want, you can stick a resistant band on your pull-up bar to get more reps in. And the same applies to dips. If you're not strong enough to do dips for reps yet, then you can just do push-ups, or again, you can stick a resistant band on your dip bar and just do reps from there. Next is how we're doing our exercises or our movements for them to be effective. And the good thing about the basic bodyweight calisthenic movements that we've chosen is that you can kind of tweak them in a way to target certain muscles or emphasize certain muscles more than others. Now, of course, pull-ups and dips alone are great for just basically hitting your entire upper body. They're great for your back, your biceps, your chest, shoulders, and triceps, which is great. But like, say for example, if you're doing pull-ups but you can't feel them in your biceps, or if you're doing dips and you can't quite feel it in your chest or maybe your triceps, then this is where effective training comes in, where we can kind of tweak our movements a bit to try and emphasize certain muscles more than others. And so how this would look is, first of all, we want to add more sets in. So personally, I like to do 5 sets per movement, because we're only doing, let's say, 3 or 4 movements. 5 sets is a good enough volume, and all those sets aren't going to be the same. So for example, if I want to target my back and biceps through pull-ups, I might just start off with a normal pull-up variation where my back is getting work and I'm really focusing on squeezing the back. And then maybe for the next 2 sets or next 3 sets, I will change my grip to a palms facing grip, which focus more on the biceps. So I'm doing chin-ups now, and that still works my back to a certain degree, but I'm just more focused on working the biceps. And then by that whole workout, I've basically fried my biceps and my back. Same with dips. If you're doing dips and you can't really feel it in your chest, then what you want to do is you want to try and lean forward, tilt your hips more and lean forward. That way you're having more emphasis and putting more strain on the chest. But if you can't feel your triceps, for example, then try doing your dips more upright and more straight and get that nice bend in the elbow. And again, that will help you to focus on your triceps. And then just at the pull-ups, you might do 2 sets of, chest dips, and then another 2 or 3 sets of doing tricep dips. And by that whole workout, you've fried your triceps and chest and even your front delts. And so those type of tweaks will be the best way to get the most effectiveness in terms of hitting our muscles and fatiguing our muscles when it comes to doing our sets in our workout. And so a good example of a workout, and this is something I tend to do a lot, would be something like doing a pull-up, a pull-in motion, and a pull-in motion. So a pull-up and a dip. I do tend to superset them. So what I would do is I'll do pull-ups and dips, 5 sets of each, supersetted. That complements each other very well. And then I'll do, as a finisher or a burnout, some rows and dips at the end. But let's just say, for this example, we're not going to superset. We're just going to do pull-ups and dips separately, really focus on the movement. And so 5 sets of pull-ups can look like 2 sets or 3 sets. First of all, focusing on the back, so really squeezing at the top and then really stretching the back at the bottom. And then the last 2 sets or last 3 sets, you might want to focus on your biceps more. And so you might want to change your grip to a palms facing grip, really do those chin-ups and get those biceps squeezing. And to be fair, chin-ups are better than any curl or any bicep movement you can do. Just an extra tip there. And then for our dips, we want to be doing our chest, shoulders and triceps. And of course, like we just spoke about, you can do 2 or 3 sets at the beginning to really focus on that chest. So when you go down, you stretch the chest, and then when you go back to the top, you really squeeze your chest at the top. And then same with the last 2 or 3 sets, have a more upright stance when it comes to your dips and really focus on that bend in the elbow to stretch your tricep and contract it. And so that would be a good example of a great workout. 5 sets of each. You're pretty much going to take half an hour, if not 45 minutes max, 10 sets in total. If you do want to add finishers or isolations at the end, you can. If you want to do more arm work or whatever, or more shoulder work. But that's pretty much it when it comes to just making your workouts very simple and effective in a short amount of time. You don't need a whole lot of exercises or 6 or 7 exercises going around the gym, hopping from machine to machine. But this is great if you want to do at home. If you have the equipment, a pull-up bar and a pair of dip bars isn't impossible to get. Or if you are at the gym, it just makes your workouts, like we said, very efficient and very quick. And of course, the underlying thing is you want to make sure that your workouts are intense. You want to make sure that you're really putting effort into those sets. They're not just easy sets that you can do. You want to make sure you're really putting some serious effort to get the best results, especially if it's to build muscle and strength. And so that's pretty much it for this video. Again, you don't need a whole lot of exercises to be more athletic, to build muscle and lose fat. You just need to do a handful of exercises in the right way that can stimulate your muscles the best way possible. And so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.